self-destructing card details for one-off transactions. You create...
What is up, everybody, and welcome back to another video. I put every single era in NBA history into one league in 2K24 to answer the very simple question: what is the best era of all time? We're going to go into the league, we're going to simulate 10 seasons, and the era with the most championships at the end of it is going to be the winner. So let's get into it. Alright, so looking at the teams right now, first of all, we have the Boston 60s. You have Bill Russell, Will Chamberlain, Oscar Robertson, Jerry West, Bob Cousy, Elgin Baylor, Jerry Lucas, Bob Pettit, George Mikan, and Willis Reed. The reason that I have Bob Pettit and Bob Cousy in here is because I didn't have enough players for the 60s. So we ended up going up one. We have the Philadelphia 70s. This is the guys from the 70s. You guys can read. I'm not going to go through. The 80s, you have, obviously, the stars of the 80s. 90s, it's a stacked team. Very stacked team. The Cleveland 2000s are actually going to be in the Western Conference. I accidentally did it, so when I was in the roster creator, I accidentally put too many teams in the Eastern, so we balanced it out. The Warriors now in the East, Cleveland is now in the West, and the Cleveland 2000s are an absolute unstoppable force. The Los Angeles 2010s, what I used to put players on their team is the one where they were the most successful. So even though Shaq was drafted in 92, I put him in the 2000s. Even though LeBron was drafted in 03, he won all of his rings in the 2010s. And then this brings us to our last team, the Memphis 2020s, who might be the worst team at the start. But like you can see on the screen, every single player is 19. We are going to sim 10 seasons. And at the end of the 10 seasons, whoever has the most rings is going to be the one that wins. Everybody else in the league is 40 overall. That is made so these guys get to play each other in the championship every single time. There is no free agency. Everybody's on these teams for life. So there's no free agency. Every single draft is 40 overalls. That's all I have. Let's get into it. I'll sim to the end of this first season. And then we can see who really is the best era. As we get to the end of the season, obviously we're not going to have any MVPs on any of the teams because they're so stacked. Probably 6th man of the year. Elliot Foles, averaging 43.5 rebounds per game. Good for you. John Havlicek was 6th man of the year for the 70s, which maybe that means the 70s were the #1 team. I have no idea. This man is a monster. Nick Nurse and the 70s went 76-6. He is the coach of the year. Executive of the year was Cody Sampson, which is obviously us with the 2020s. So going into it, the first seed in the West is going to be the 2020s, followed by the third seeded 2010s and the second seeded 2000s. Then you have the 60s, the 80s.
25 minutes, yeah, I like those type of videos. Yeah, cool.
You could. #1 seed going. Where did they go? 76-6. So everybody beat the 73-9 mark over here, and the 2010s ended up just coming short, which is crazy when you just think about it. Simulate the play-in, then simulate to the semifinals where some teams will probably match up. The 60s, you have Isaiah Thomas against Jerry West, Moncrief against Sam Jones, Elgin Baylor against Larry Bird, Jerry Lucas against Kevin McHale, and Will Chamberlain against Moses Malone. I'm going to take the 80s there. You go down to the 70s. And the 70s are going to be playing John Stockton against Walt Frazier, Pete Maravich against Michael Jordan, Scottie Pippen against Julius Erving, Karl Malone, he who shall not be named against Elvin Hayes, and Akeem Olajuwon against Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. By the end of this, everybody's going to be 90, but I don't care. It's fun. Then you go down to here with our next matchup. You have the 2000s against the 2010s, where you have Allen Iverson against Chris Paul, D. Wade against James Harden, Vince Carter against LeBron James, KG against Kawhi, and Shaq against Dwight Howard. Obviously, 2020 are going to win 6 up. We're going to simulate this round. And the 2010s have been beaten by the 2000s. The 70s have been beaten by the 90s. And the 80s have been beaten by the 60s. So the 60s end up destroying them. Going to the 2020 versus 2000, AI versus Shea, Donovan Mitchell versus D. Wade, Tatum versus Carter, Giannis versus Garnett, and Embiid versus Shaquille O'Neal. So they have Luka coming off the bench. I think the 90s are going to win. So this round, 2020 has been eliminated, the 60s have been eliminated, which means you have Kevin Garnett against Scottie Pippen, the 2000s against the 90s, where it will end up being the 90s get the first ring of the simulation behind Finals MVP Scottie Pippen. Ring #1 of the first 10 seasons goes to the 90s. Alright, so our team we're going to shadow is going to be the 90s as they attempt to repeat. They had a couple close series, but obviously everybody's 19, so no one's going to be retiring. They're beating everyone right now. They just lost to the 60s, though, so it's looking like, hey, I just want to see something shake it up a little bit. I'll see you guys at the end of the regular season where we go in to see who gets the ring in the second season. of the simulation. All right, and once again, Elliott Falls he might become the GOAT in this, but we don't really care. JT Robbins will get here. Sixth man of the year was once again John Havlicek. Bickerstaff, so the 2000s is actually the best team in the league right now. Actually, West Sports Executive of the Year. So going into the playoffs, the number 1 seed in the Western Conference, 2000. 2 seed is 2020, 3 seed is 2010. The 60s, the 70s, the 90s are the 3 seeds, surprisingly, and the 80s are the 4 seed. Let's check the standings overall because you never know. 76 and 6, 75 and 7, 75 and 7. And the 80s went 72 and 10. Going to the Western Conference, 76 and 6, 73 and 9. 2010s are just they're kind of struggling. In this league's terms, they're kind of struggling. Someone's got knocked off the 90s. I got to see someone knock off the 90s. We simulate the first round, and everyone should definitely sweep the first round. You have the 2020 versus 2010, 2000s, 60s and the 80s, the 70s and the 90s. And it looks like the 2020s have been eliminated, and the 70s have been eliminated by the 90s, the 80s have been eliminated by the 60s, and now you see the 2010s are actually starting to make a push. It didn't look like they were, but yeah, the 60s and the 90s going up against each other. 2010s have been eliminated by the 2000s, and the 90s just got eliminated by the 60s, which means that we have a different matchup. Kevin Garnett against Will Chamberlain. Once again, the 2000s are in, but can they end up winning? You have Allen Iverson against Jerry West. Oh my gosh, their team is stacked. 2000s is stacked. The 60s don't have a shooting guard. Sam Jones, you know, it is what it is. Elgin Baylor, Jerry Lucas, Will Chamberlain. You see the matchups. This could get ugly. This could get ugly, and it did not really. You know, 6 games, but the 2000s have now won a championship. So that's 1 for the 90s, 1 for the 2000s behind Dwayne Wade, as we go into the 3rd season of this simulation. All right, now we are going into our 3rd season where maybe the 60s can make the playoffs. I don't know. We're not the playoffs, the finals, but I don't know. It's looking like the 90s and the 2000s are going to be a team. 2000 seems to be the staple coming out of the West. Obviously, it's a little bit harder to come out of the East because they have one more team, but when it comes to the eras of 2K, that's all I got for it. We'll see you guys at the end of the regular season, where maybe we can see our first repeat, or we can see another new champ. And once again, at the end of our 3rd season, Elliott Falls has won a 3rd straight MVP. It is what it is. 6th man of the year was once again John Havlicek for the 70s. I'm kind of sensing just a little bit of a pattern here. Joel Embiid was the MIP for the 2020s, so that's big time. Maybe the 2020s are starting to peak. Zion was Coach Player of the Year, 45 overall, and the 70s.
Good work.
Okay.
Keep working.
So going into the playoffs, once again, the 1 seed is 2000s, 2020s, 2010s. They're all kind of locked in over there. The 90s are now the 1 seed. The 60s have fallen to the 3 seed. 70s are slated at the 2 seed. And the 80s are still struggling. And they do. You have the 2000s, 2020s, 2010s. You have the 90s and the 80s, and the 70s and the 60s. So going through this one, the 80s have been eliminated by the 90s 4-1. 2010s have been eliminated by the 2020s, and the 60s have been eliminated. So now we have the 70s have reached the conference finals, and we have, once again, 2000s, so we simulate. And the 2000s just got swept, which means we will not have a back-to-back. And the 90s have also went down, so that means our last 2 champions are not in the finals. And the finals is going to be the 70s against the 2020s. Shea versus Walt Frazier, Donovan Mitchell versus Pete Maravich, Tatum versus Irving, Giannis versus Hayes, and Embiid against Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. Also, you have Luka coming off the bench for the 2020s. I think 2020s got this one here. They're finally in rhythm. Simulate, and they do not. In 7 games, the 70s have won behind John Havlicek for his Finals MVP. So that has been 3 years, 3 different champions. The 70s are now on the board as we go into our 4th season of the simulation. And going into the 4th season, we have had 3 different champions. The only teams without a championship are the 60s, the 80s, the 2010s, and the 2020s. So that's 4 out of the 17 still haven't won. Obviously, the reason I picked 10 seasons is so there's no possibility of 14 or a couple teams tying. There is a chance that teams are going to tie. We are going to go into a sudden death 11th year. But right now, it's looking like maybe everyone gets a ring, and then it gets really into it. Obviously, we're only 3 years in. We're going into our 4th year, but it will start to heat up as we go down the backstretch.
Listen, man.
See you guys
Tell me how many minutes on
and
eat
at the end of the year, we have
fucking
another new MVP, actually. Rubens Saramago. He's 68 overall. It is what it is. Six-man of the year is now Julius Erving. So maybe John Havlicek has ended up starting
No.
from the 70s. I don't know. Defensive player of the year once again, Elliot Falls. Wembley's MIP. Julius Randle Clutch player of the year.
The temptation to go
Bickerstaff
to his
is
pocket,
now
it's
coaching
just
the
a
70s.
stern lecture.
So there's that. And Nate Morgan in the 80s. So looking at it, the 2000s are the 1 seed, 2020s are the 2 seed. It's the same story on the Western Conference. The 70s are now the 1 seed, the 80s are back to the 4, Sixers are the 2, and the 90s are the 3. So we're seeing a lot of change here, but we're going to simulate to the second round where maybe we can get a repeat champion maybe, or we can get another new champion. Because right now it's looking like the 60s and the 90s, the 70s and the 80s. If both the 60s and the 80s win, we'll have a new guy coming to the finals out of the Eastern Conference, the Western Conference. 2010s have never been. 80s have been eliminated by the 70s, 2020s have been eliminated by the 2010s, and the 90s have been eliminated by the 60s, so we may have a new champion because the only two are the 2010s and the 60s, and here we go. The 60s have been eliminated, the 70s are cooking, but the 2000s have been eliminated, so the 2010s behind Steph Curry are facing the 70s behind Rick Barry. 2010 hasn't won anything yet. But now
This is really good, though.
you have some of the greatest scorers. You have one of the best two-way. Melo is a good shooter. He's moved down to the power forward. Where is LeBron James? If he's a six man, it's gonna get nasty as we go and we simulate. And the 70s go back-to-back, winning another Game 7. That's the second year straight. The 70s are now in the lead with 2 rings. The 90s and the 2000s are tied with 1 ring as we go into the fifth season of this simulation. As we go into the midway points of this simulation, we're going into year 5. And man, if the 70s can pair together a couple more wins, I don't think anyone's going to be able to beat them. But the 2010s are starting to come alive. The 80s have been very lackluster. But the 90s, I thought they were going to be destroying everyone. Doesn't look like it. But at the end of the regular season, who knows what's going to happen. So I'll see you guys then. And at the end of the 5th year of our simulation, someone won an MVP. Finally, someone from a team. I'm not going to say his name, though. The Rookie of the Year, whatever. Michael Jordan was 6th man of the year. Why is he the 6th man? These coaches are horrible. Clutch player of the year was Damian Lillard, not the Dame that's in the 2010s. Tyronn Lue is coach of the year. The 2010s are starting to cook. The 2010s are the 1 seed. The 2000s are starting to drop off. 60s, the 70s, and the 80s are still the worst team out. I'd be shocked not to see the 2010s win this one. That was the best record we've seen so far. As we go into the other round, the 90s have been eliminated by the 70s. The 70s keep cooking. The 2000s have been eliminated by the 2020s. And the 80s got eliminated in Game 7. The 80s still have not gone far in the playoffs one time. Maybe I should have changed them to the 76ers. Sorry, Philly fans, I had to do it. And you have the 2010s versus 2020s, the 60s versus the 70s. 2020s have been eliminated. And the 60s have made it. So we are going to have another new champion, Carmelo Anthony, Will Chamberlain. 2010s versus the 60s. Chris Paul, James Harden, you've seen it. You've seen it. Jerry West, Sam Jones, Elgin Baylor, Jerry Lucas, this dogs. Left and right, Bill Russell off the bench was simulating the round. And in Game 7, the 2010s have now won. So now they're on the board. So that is 5 rings in 5 years, 4 different teams. Right now, the 70s are in the lead. But I don't know. The 2010s started off slow, but they are starting to cook. So I will see you guys at the start of year 6. Going into year 6, we only have 3 teams that have never won the title. That is the 60s, the 80s, and the 2020s. But sooner or later, the 2020s are going to start to cook. But right now, the 2010s are starting to absolutely cook people. They started off slow, but now they're coming on. I will see what they do this regular season where maybe the 80s can get it going, but it looks like the 80s are going to be the worst team by far. I don't know. I'll see what they do in the regular season. And I'm not going to lie. The 2010s are starting to kind of fall a little bit. I didn't think they'd be that bad, but once again, a certain man just won the MVP. 6th man of the year is once again Michael Jordan, so maybe the 90s are going to come back and win one. Clutch player of the year is Anthony Edwards. This is not the Anthony Edwards of the 2020s. This is not. Taylor Jenkins, the 2020s is actually coach of the year, so maybe the 2020s are going to start cooking. The 70s against the 80s, the 60s against the 90s, the 2010s against the 2000s, and the 2020s are number 1 seed. But will they be able to do it? Can they pull it out? The 80s have once again not gotten past the second round. 60s have been eliminated. The 2000s have been eliminated. There is a very good chance that we are going to see a champion, a repeat champion, unless the 2020s can win. And they do not. So we are going to have Either a repeat champion or the 90s are going to come back and claim the crown. You have the 2010s versus the 90s. You have LeBron versus Jordan in the title game. Year 6, it's starting to heat up. Whoever wins this ties the 70s and is now also in the lead. I like the 90s here. I think that Hakeem is going to go crazy.
Oh my
And
god,
they
what
win
a
at
goal.
7 behind MJ.
Wind.
And that makes it 2 rings for the 90s, 1 ring for the 2010s, 2 rings for the 70s, and 1 for the 2000s. As we go into year 7. Can the Batman get 3 straight MVPs? Can someone from the 90s or the 70s take the lead? Or will we see another new champion? Will we see the 2010s catch up? Will we see the 2000s catch up? There are so many things that are starting to come into play down the stretch that, hey, this is starting to look like it's a good experiment. But all that will be answered at the end of the regular season. So I will see you then. And going into the end of the regular season of year 7, Elgin Baylor now won an MVP. So the 60s, they don't have a ring yet. The 60s don't have a ring. 2020s don't have a ring. In the 80s, not sure they'll get a ring. Julius Erving was the 6th man of the year. The coach of the year was Taylor Jenkins. The 2020s just went 78. So this is make or break for him because we have 4 years left. We have the 7th, 8th, 9th, and the 10th year. 4 rings left to get. 2020s are down 2. The 80s are down 2. The 60s are down 2. So you need to start doing something now if you want to win. And it's really looking like the 60s are trying their best. Because look at the points. Look at the points. You guys know it.
Nicely controlled. Pumps it into the area. Defending of the desperate variety. Defenders on the back foot. Good challenge, he just stood firm. Not much subtlety, he's launched himself there.
What a good way to assert your authority for this second period. They were prepared to commit numbers forward into attacking positions, and the risk has been deservedly rewarded.
And it's played forward. And it's hoisted clear. And it's been taken straight back.
Oh, shooting chance! He's pulled off a fine save. Oh, that's a sparkling save. Absolutely sparkling. His reflexes were ultra sharp.
Wolverhampton can make their change now with a break in play. Good save, he got a decent fist on that.
Well, it's good stuff. This is better.
Well, this isn't the time to talk about risks now, Jim, is it? They just have to hurl everything at it and hope for a break.
Well, there's no two ways about it. This is what they have to do.
Jim, what are you thinking?
Well, it's a natural instinct to defend when ahead, but it's too early for them to settle into that practice just now.
The only goal came in the early moments of the second period, and it's 1-0. That's a terrific surge down the right. He's left his man, and he just whacks it away. And the assistant referee rightly gives him offside. Gets it upfield. And again, they run up against stubborn defending. And he's there to clear it.
Yeah, let's tap again. Yukamanovic como Kase coming in the first minute. Going for the others a bit tired. And billing on.
Gorgeous control there. And through to the goalkeeper. And that has been cleared. Savic. Going for goal! Oh, just lacked a decent finish.
Well, Peter, I would say it was worth a try.
Casemiro is looking to make a big first impression here. Cuts it out.
Wolverhampton are actually displaying tremendous fighting spirit. There's a real belief that they can still have a say.
He's gone for it!
There's a real appetite from them to finally put this game to bed, but will they?
Can't get the better of his opposite number.
This is good ball retention, and it should be enough from here, but they want to double their advantage.
And that's been won straight back. Whistle's gone, that's a foul. So he's plotting something before playing it in. Pings it out wide. It's gone for a throw-in. Good take. Shot at goal! Oh, and that should have been two.
Well, he's definitely kept the side in the game then. That's really good positioning. They could have doubled their lead there.
Tries to get it clear. Billing finds himself
Why are you
offside.
off?
Weston-super-Mare are clearly looking to kill this game off. It's keeping the ball away from the other end too. The final 5 minutes. Almost there, and the players can feel it. Casemiro. Forward it goes. Brought forward. What does he try from here?
Yeah, it's safe to say that they just need to manage this to secure the win now.
A heavy challenge. Well, the ball's come loose and the chase is on. Played out to the right. And there goes the final whistle. What a game. End to end, it flew by, and in the end, it all came down to just the odd goal.
Yeah, it was a fairly stern test with very little between two teams that scrapped for everything.
I think we're just about out of time, so many thanks to Jim, and a very good afternoon to you. So welcome to everyone. We are here again and ready to go. The domestic season still relatively freshly started in many of Europe's major leagues. It's a time filled with hope
so
and
fun to play
expectation.
he'd go Jokic and I would go probably Luka. I could run Luka and
the very
Jokic.
summit of European football. This is the time when you dream, indeed perhaps you believe. You are allowed to believe. This must be amongst the favoured arenas of supporters all over the world. It really does have a very special feel to it. So, are we ready for another edition of this tournament? I think we are.
Well, when it comes to major European trophies, Peter, this is one of those eagerly awaited days on the footballing calendar. I think changes to the format have increased interest levels, and the emphasis on victories is more pronounced now, and hopefully these two will go at it accordingly and we can enjoy this.
Well, if you did just miss it, we are up and running already. Oh, he's in! Oh, real danger! Hits one! There it is!
Vince, 3 games, 3 goals.
Weston-super-Mare are really pouncing on any stray passes in midfield. We're talking seconds from interception to the back of the net. It's counter-attacking heaven.
Weston-super-Mare take the early advantage. And the weighted pass. Great strength, too strong for his opponent. Aimed in towards the centre. Well, this is so often referred to as Europe's other competition, but I tell you what, winning it does take some doing.
It does, and it's one of the many topics that came up in the pre-game press conference last night. It's good that this is a team that's seriously looking to go and win this.
Why wouldn't you?
Well, yeah, I mean, they'll have to bring in, I think, 1 or 2 more people, I think, to cope with the increased amount of games.
60s are now the second seed, so maybe they're getting back into it. Simulating round 1, obviously everyone's going to sweep. So now you have the 2000s and the 2010s. You have the 90s. If the 90s get another ring, the 60s have been eliminated, and the 80s have finally made it into the conference championship. 2000s have been eliminated, and the 90s have been eliminated. So the 70s, they can get a leg up. The 80s can start making it. The 2020s can get a ring.
I think
so
it's
there's
great to see that kind of application and desire from the forward who wants to help out his defence. I think
do not crown the 80s, but the 2020s are back in against the 70s. The 70s are looking to get another ring to put them in the lead. They're stacked, but you just look at the 2020s. I mean, I don't say 2020's losing. I just don't. And they choke a 3-1 lead. The 70s come back and they have taken the lead. That is their third ring. That is their third ring. An insane choke from the 2020s. And now it's going to be between any team with the ring, unless the 2020s can win 3 straight, which I'm not saying they won't, but it doesn't look that good. So we are going to see what's going to happen as we go into the 8th season of this simulation. So going into year 8, this is starting to be must-win territory for some teams. The 70s have 3 rings. The 90s have 2 rings. The 2000s have 1 ring, and the 2010s have 1 ring as well. So in order to win, we're going to need to see some team make a run, or it's going to be between the 70s and the 90s. But that last win for the 70s was big time. But we will see what happens at the end of this year's regular season as we go into year 8. And at the end of regular season number 8, Elgin Baylor has won another MVP. Maybe the 60s are going to make a last-second push. Bernard was Rookie of the Year. Jordan was 6th Man of the Year. The 90s need to get even. Scotty was DPOY. It kind of feels like these guys know what needs to happen. Anthony Edwards was Clutch Player of the Year. Sam Cassell was Coach of the Year. He's back in Boston. He's actually an assistant coach there right now. So Boston's messing around a little bit. Which means that the 60s are really going after it. As you guys see, man, 2020s were just 2 games away. If they just won both of those Game 7s, they would be in the race as well. But now you're looking at it, and I don't know, man. I just don't know. Simulating these semis, the 80s have been eliminated. And the 90s have been eliminated, which means that if the 70s can win here, they will pretty much wrap this thing up. As the 60s beat the 70s and go to the finals, and we are going to have a new champion. Luka, Bob Cousy, the oldest generation versus the youngest generation. My generation versus the oldest generation. I'm not in the 60s. Stop saying that. And the 60s have won, and maybe they make a run for it because they've been getting better and better each year. The 60s now have a ring underneath their belt. We have 2 seasons right now. They're going to win, but you never know. Crazier things have happened. So I will see you guys at the start of year 9. Going into this year, we now have 2 teams eliminated. Those teams are the 2020s and the 80s.
Yo.
And the heartbreaking thing about that, as you see the 60s absolutely destroying people.
Oh, yes.
The 2020s just went to 3 straight
I'm watching this
finals
TikToker
and
that I used to
lost
watch
every
a lot. He used to do these like make a starting 5 of like filters and take them to championships. Who can go 82-0 and not lose a game in the what do you call it, playoffs? What's the best team? Like what's the level? So I used to watch a lot of his content. And then he started uploading on YouTube, and I was his first subscriber. So what do you call it? He's now on 5K, and yeah, he's just like a meme TikToker. Like he just does like bare memes. Like he did a 5K subscriber special, watching LeBron "You Are My Sunshine" for 1 hour straight. And in the video, he's just reading Reddit comments. I watched like 10 minutes of it, and then I was like, what the fuck is this? But yeah, nah, he's like a meme person, but he's actually like, what do you call it, trying to make it on YouTube. He started like a month ago. He's got 5K subs. So yeah, serious. Okay, so to start the season, let me tell you what's happened. I played Newcastle first game of the season. I drew 1-1. To be honest, it was just a frantic game. They were pressing like they had nothing to lose, and I was like, okay, wow. Vin scored for me that game. I don't remember who scored for them. Second game of the season, we had Wolves. I had 65% possession. They had 2 shots all game. I dominated them. Yeah, we won 1-0. Vind scored again. And we're in the third game of the season against CSKA Moscow, yeah, in the Europa League, and we are 1-0 up. And it's Vind yet again. 3 goals in 3 games. He's telling me something. No, Newcastle draw, Wolves win, and now I'm playing CSKA Moscow in the Europa League. I actually didn't check. I just went into the game. What is wrong with me? I kind of forgot I had a group. I thought this was qualifiers for a second. 1-1, 1-0. I've really tried to make an impact on my defending so far this season. Like I'm taking it so serious defensively. Like Wolves normally terrorize me. What do you call it? Every fucking year. They normally score at least 3 and park the bus against me. But no, we didn't give them anything. They had 1 good chance all game. Thought they were going to score it, but Trafford, did what he needed to. Oh, by the way, Van Dijk's region is a South African Dutchman. Cold, right? Johannes de Klerk. Because there's bare Dutch South Africans, apparently. I was so surprised by that, but yeah, there's bears. Because I was thinking, okay, yeah, what country could he actually be from? Like, Virgil van Dijk is not just Dutch, is he? Like, what actual country is he from? So then I was reading, like, what most, what do you call it, Dutch black people are. And it's South Africa, what do you call it, and mainly southern countries. And I was so surprised by that. I was like, okay. So yeah, I made him from there. My first instinct was to make him a yardie, but, I was like, nah, let me allow that. Yardie, man. Yeah, that Jokic build I cooked, oh. America just told me to add more offensive rebound and take off a layup. But that's the whole point of Jokic. You could just hit floaters from anywhere. That would be so fun. It wouldn't count as a layup. Also, I didn't. I have the badges for what do you call it? The build I made gets you post hook specialist Hall of Fame. Also gets you float game Hall of Fame, slivery gold and shit like that. It's crazy that build. And I get like box out beast gold and shit. Well, not me, it'll be you, but yeah. That build is so good. 96 pass accuracy is so crazy, by the way. Bro, if you ever misplace a dam, I'd be so surprised. You get Hall of Fame break star. What? Next year we could just do a Nuggets thing. I've said it already. I don't mind doing that. But I was thinking we could do a Heat thing. Baker wanted to be Bam. Someone could be Jimmy. Someone could be Bron, D Wade. Who? Oh yeah, yeah. I saw that. Nah, banked it as well. That was so rude, bro. It's not even 47. Oh no, Johannes has been caught out. Casemiro. Oh, Casemiro is so beautiful. I love him. You are my sunshine, my only sunshine. Mirko was telling me Jalen Green did alright. I looked at the stats after. 5 for 15, 15 points or some bullshit like that. Yes. So do it. Do it in the most efficient way. So as in like to save VC, bro. Really? No. 5K? You'll have like 30K, bro. Yeah, save the money for Jokic. Is the archetypes that I built there? There's two archetypes, bro. There's a 250-pound Jokic and there's a 240-pound Jokic. The 250-pound Jokic, the build is beautiful. The only thing I didn't like was the name, Diming 3-level threat. If I'm Jokic, I want to be something special. Inside the arc maestro. Yes, the one that I built you and sent you, inside the arc maestro. Oh, I hit the post. Yes, yeah, 60 rated builds. I'll happily do it. You can be the highest rated. You can start with your 30k. That's calm. Whatever. Minor. But let's do it. Yeah, shoot first point. It gets a 90 driving dunk at 94 driving dunk. Gets a 92 midi, 78 three ball, and decent defense. Gabriel went to go hoop. Gabriel's not. We can play twos though, bro. If you want, we can go 30 to twos. You're gonna have to wait till the end of the game. So go create the build. Just go copy everything, thing for thing, if you want, and you can change a couple of things if you want. Oh, if you do Harden, that could be. Wait, put your share screen up, bro. Let's see if I can. Let's see if we can cook anything. No, 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 no. Okay, yeah, maybe listen to him more than me, obviously, but like. I don't know about all of that personally, but yeah, because you get clamp animations. Clamp animations are big. That's what I'm thinking in my head. Oh my god, big chance, bro, if you're on my stream. It's 1-1 against CSK Moscow. Wow, they just hit us on the counter. Poor defender. Oh my, big chance, bro. Big chance. I don't know, tell him, I don't know. Okay, bet. Actually, no, I have a wing. Let me make... He wants to play with Bam. Okay, then let me make... Let me make like a KD-esque type build. Not actually KD because we got one, but a KD. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. MPJ, you pass me the rock, you're not getting it back type shit.
Oh, well played. He's taken that really cleanly.
Wh-
Look, this could still go either way. It might be flowing one way, but there's still time for some end.
Good challenge. He just stood firm. And it's played forward. Magnussen going full steam ahead down the left flank. He gets past his man. It'll be a throw. Now some movement on the bench, and we are
Year 12 is very chill.
unfortunately.
Just make sure you pass your test and you're good.
Well, see a more predictable, lofty route forward, but still very hard to deal with that, if they can affect it right.
Not get the better of his opposite number.
The concentration levels are very good, and so is the commitment. This game could yet yield a winner.
Gets away. Shot a goal!
Western Supermare
You missed, you bastard.
at this stage. They're calling on all their resources now.
Final 5
Yeah.
minutes. A buccaneering run from the defender. CSKA Moscow have it back, and they could. The referee's awarded a free kick.
No, it's just what Gabriel wants to do. It's not actually like, it's not actually a build. It's just, no.
Well, both sides might have to settle for a draw here, although there's still a chance for one last fling.
That's a foul. No two-way.
Today he was shooting really well. He missed like 3 shots altogether from 3. Another playmaker.
Terrific surge down the right. Striding forward, facing goal. And the finish!
Big chance, bro.
Oh, what about that? Late in the day!
Yeah, 91st minute, 2-1 win.
Oh, it was a nifty deflection, but
Philip Billing. Came on for Tiger Singh and said, fuck it, I'm gonna ball. No.
Western Supermare looks to be a decisively
I think I had it at 83. Like it's on 83 now because he's old. How old is he? 32. Yeah. You are my sunshine, my only sunshine. By the way, do you know how peak it was? At the start of the season, yeah, Shabbat went down 3 ratings. He went from 82 to 79.
3 points.
He lost 3 ratings, bro.
Crucial. What are your thoughts on today's game?
Okay, I have Milan Standard Liège and CSKA Moscow. Okay. Milan. Haha. Serious guy. I kind of want to make a build that doesn't shoot like that, bro, if you don't mind. Like, I'm talking like 65 3-ball, but I know I can be a sniper with a 65. Trust me,